Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video, and good news, finally, a fee has been agreed with Ajax for Edson Alvarez for the player to finally join West Ham, our first, hopefully, signing of the window after the Carlos Borges saga with Ajax, coincidentally. Fabrizio Romano tweeting this earlier today that Edson Alvarez to West Ham, the here we go statement. Verbal agreement has been agreed for a package of 34 to 35 million pounds. And yeah, so that's going to include add-ons, and he's set to fly to London in the next 24 hours to do his medical and sign his contract. So it's not a done deal yet. It's very close to being done. It looks like just the medical to go. Hopefully all the checks will be complete, and we're going to have our first signing of the summer, and it is one that we should be absolutely really happy with. It's a player we've mentioned before, so if you want to go watch our analysis in depth of the player, check it out in our on our channel. I'll leave a link in the description of the video as well. But yeah, this is a target that Moyes wanted before Tim Steidten actually came in. So fair play to David Moyes. You know, he's been under a lot of stick for the transfer policy, but I just want to get the point across that yes, Edson Alvarez signing is a great deal. It also can be perceived as a little bit of a negative with the other reports around it, and I'm going to get into that very shortly. But just sticking on Alvarez, excellent player, excellent six. Started off as a centre back for Ajax, and he kind of moved into that defensive midfield role, similar to how Declan Rice developed. So you know what you're going to get with him from the defensive side of things. He's going to be there to kind of win the ball back for turnovers, interceptions, tackles, that kind of thing, keeping the ball moving. He's not going to be the most creative of players, although he does look to play those forward passes. And yeah, I think we've got a really good player. And hopefully that is going to solidify that midfield that looked absolutely awful against Bayer Leverkusen the other day, and we were absolutely torn apart. So yeah, for me, this is a really good signing. Great value as well, 35 million. I'd much rather see us spend that on a player like Alvarez than someone like that we're going to mention, Palhinha. It just makes sense. And yeah, I think the big thing for me is we have to get the 8 right as well as the 6, which is why I've got the biggest concern about the reports coming out about this deal and what it means for the football club, because Darmesh also tweeted this as well. So he said that we've agreed in principle with Ajax for Alvarez, and he also said that West Ham are expected to go back in for Man United's Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. This is my main concern, because the biggest clear insinuation for me is that Yusuf Fofana is the 8 to partner Alvarez. And we've said this for a long time on the channel. Again, a player we've done a breakdown of, so go check that out as well. I'll leave a link in the description. But Fofana would be absolutely perfect to fit into that midfield with Alvarez and Paqueta. That is just the clearest thing. What I'm concerned about is the reports that are saying it's going to be Alvarez or Fofana, not both. That is not the correct way to go about it. Bringing in Alvarez by himself is not going to change much, to be honest, other than we're going to be a little bit better defensively. But we've already seen countless times how difficult we find it to, progress with the ball and transitions and actually make things happen from our midfield. And, against Leverkusen, Paqueta was dropping so deep, trying to make things happen. And he was actually one that made a mistake for their first goal. So it's not what we need. We need players that are going to be able to do that. Someone like Thomas Souček playing in that right 8 role, it's not it anymore. He's just not going to cut it anymore. So we need to replace him with the adequate replacement. And yeah, the names that I think we're probably going to go for are Ward-Prowse and McTominay. I think they're going to be the 2 top targets for that 8. I think Ward-Prowse is probably the more likely. But that's where my biggest concern with Alvarez coming in is, yes, it's a positive. We're getting a great 6, but it's not enough. And it means we're turning up our nose at someone that could play 8 for us really comfortably and be an excellent addition to this midfield. Someone like McTominay or Ward-Prowse, they're marginal upgrades on someone like Souček, in my opinion. I don't think they're really going to upgrade that midfield too much. I don't think we're going to notice a big difference in that midfield from that 8 position. And yeah, it's just not what we need. We need someone like Fofana, who's great at transitions, great at carrying the ball, and also defensively very sound. So for me, the Alvarez news of him potentially signing is great. But if it comes at a compromise of not signing Fofana, that's where I have my biggest concerns. And that's where kind of the overall policy of what David Moyes wants to do comes into question a little bit, because I think they've Tim Steidten and David Moyes have kind of settled on Alvarez for now. There's obviously a lot of pressure from external people, the fans, the media, that West Ham just haven't signed anyone yet. And, we've tried to go for the likes of Palhinha. It hasn't worked. So now we're going to just have, we've kind of been forced to play our hand and sign Alvarez. And luckily it's turned out that we've signed a very good player, but that can't really be the transfer policy. And it looks like David Moyes is going to be pretty adamant on Ward-Prowse and McTominay over Fofana right now, which to me doesn't make any sense. Tim Steidten, he knows what he's doing. He's highlighted Fofana for a reason, and he would be perfect for that midfield. It would really take that midfield three to another level for us, with Alvarez and Paqueta as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how things turn out. Hopefully we do get the Alvarez deal over the line, but yeah, Fofana not signing as a result of Alvarez, I hope it's not true. It's, reports that have come out about it, but it wouldn't be surprised me if that is the case and Moyes goes for someone that is a bit more, Prem proven and is English. And, Ward-Prowse and McTominay both fit that criteria of playing in the Premier League. So don't be surprised if Fofana isn't, approached after this. I know we held talks for Alvarez and Fofana, last week. I think it was probably one or the other, although they're two completely different profiles. Again, that's what I've got my biggest concern with this transfer window, the kind of misprofiling of players. But I guess it's a progress. It's a start that, hopefully Alvarez will be signed before the end of this week, before the Bournemouth game. Don't expect him to come straight in, but Moyes may well put him in there. And then, it's going to be interesting to see what other developments happen, because obviously Scamacca as well is a player that's going. It's just been confirmed that he's going to be signing for Atalanta very soon. So we then need a striker. And Antonio is another player that his future is unclear. So it could well be we're going to be in the market for a striker, another midfielder, and it looks like defenders as well. The Cresswell future is uncertain, so we may need to go for a left back. And we definitely need another centre-back, which is why Harry Maguire is being targeted. A player that doesn't want to come to us, but Moyes is being very persistent on it. So it'd be interesting to see how those deals work out as well. But for now, Alvarez is a good start. It's a good start to, fixing the puzzle. He's one piece of the puzzle. I think that's the very clear message we need to get across. Alvarez signing is great, but it's not enough. And Fofana coming in would have been so perfect. So I really hope we go for that, because there are a couple of other options as well we've highlighted on our Twitter and our YouTube, but Fofana's probably one of the top ones up there that we could go for, and it was a little bit more of an ambitious move. So if we could pull off that move, it would be really, really good for this football club, long term and short term. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about the Alvarez signing. Are you excited by it? Do you think it's enough? Would you like to see someone like Ward-Prowse or McTominay come in alongside Alvarez, or would you like to see us maybe go a little bit more ambitious or out of the comfort zone of what Moyes wants and go for someone like Fofana or someone like Kone, who again is another player we absolutely love on this channel, but it's one that's going to be difficult to do just because of the caliber of player he is. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens now between now and the end of the window, because like I mentioned, we need a lot of signings. When we first started this transfer window, we got a big portion of that Declan Rice money going into July. Tim Steidten came in. There was a lot of hope about what could happen. There was a lot of, promise going into a season with European football again. And now it looks like it's dwindled away a little bit. It's rekindled now with Alvarez potentially coming in, hopefully coming in very soon. And yeah, it's just going to be very interesting to see what happens, because we definitely need another midfielder. We can't go into the season with Alvarez, Souček, Paqueta. It's not enough there again. As much as the defensive side of it is much more solid, it's still not enough. We need that ball carrier. We need that person who's going to play 8 instead of Souček. That's my biggest thing from this window. Replacing Rice was always a 2-man job, but it's also very important that we, replace Souček, because he should not be starting in the Premier League that season. Let's be very clear, he shouldn't. Regardless of how well he did for us when he first came in. So, yeah, for us to progress, more is needed. But this is the start that hopefully will push us on into making some more signings. And yeah, again, another one, Vlasic going out to Torino. So more money coming in. There's no excuse now not to go out and get these players if they're attainable. But yeah, Edson Alvarez, he really wanted to come to the club. So that's a really good positive. And it seems we've agreed a decent fee of around 35 million, which is, you know, very, very reasonable for the player he is and the age he's at. So yeah, that's going to be all for today. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as always. And yeah, until next time, come on, you irons.